Hi, everybody. This is Warren Herman. Tonight, we're going to speak about something that's very important because sometimes in life, we are given circumstances that bring up the things we fear most. For example, let's say somebody feels that the worst thing in the world would be to be embarrassed while public speaking or something, and that happens. Or somebody thinks the worst thing that could happen is their boyfriend or girlfriend leaving them, and that happens. Um, or let's say the worst thing that could happen is that um, you know, there could be any number of things. But the thing is, sometimes we need to go through that experience in order to be able to heal. We need to be able to be broken so that the parts of us that can be shattered can go away, and we have to build a deeper foundation. Because sometimes in life it's as if there are experiences that seem to break us, but what's really going on is that a new foundation is being laid for our lives. We're getting rid of these superficial foundations and finding something deeper. This can be especially powerful when a mechanism that we rely on to get control in our lives doesn't work. So, for example, let's say you work overtime at your job, but you get fired, or you always try to do the right thing in relationships and you get rejected. Um, these type of things show the mechanism of what we think it is that's going to control love or whatever the thing is that we want. And the worst thing that could happen to us is that we are able to control love effectively and never realize that what we're doing is having a control mechanism, and we really don't feel that unconditional love of God. So the thing that needs to happen, that God permits things that are very difficult, like let's say somebody sins and they say, "I can't believe that I sinned like that," or something terrible seems to happen, like you can't believe they say, "Wow, why did God do that to me?" And there could be times in our lives where we feel, there's a scripture that says, God, when we ask God for a fish, He will not give a snake. And there could be times we say, well, why did you do that to me, God? That seems to be worse. But when we look deeply, we can see that, sometimes things come into our lives that are almost like an injection. It's almost like, an injection is something that's painful. It's sharp. It goes in. It goes deep. And it's almost like, you know, it's something bad, but the thing is something good. The medicine comes in with it. This is maybe a strange metaphor, but I think a good metaphor is almost like, imagine that the things in life are like an injection needle. And, sometimes the thing is that there has to be this breaking, this thing cutting through these different layers with that needle to get that thing in there deep. It's almost like sometimes in life, these wounds, like if we try to if I do the right thing, let's just say someone is really attached to their job. Let's say I do all the right things and I'll be able to succeed. Instead, they get fired. They never work in that field again. They get ostracized, whatever it is. Something bad happens with that. And they think that their life is over. But really God's doing is He's showing them that their identity is not in that job, and they can't control their being loved and valuable by working hard. Or let's say it's a relationship. Let's say a person is in a relationship and they are very they're always trying to validate something their partner is doing. They're always there for their partner, and they still might get dumped. Let's say. So, but the thing is that rejection, that shame, that isolation, that type of rejection, and seeing that coping mechanism fail is exactly what is necessary to bring the person to see that they have been founded on this false foundation. And that's what God is doing to relay the foundation. And when the wound is really targeted, when it's something that really matters to you, when it's the coping mechanism that you really rely on, like that, being always saying the right thing, or, always working hard, whatever it is, when it's really that thing, and then you get rejected for that, like those wounds are the deepest wounds. And when those things are the things that you fear the most, like, let's say that, you fear that that abandonment, and you fear and you're ashamed at being abandoned by somebody. You say, oh, I got rejected, so I'm a nobody. And then you say, oh, and then let's say you or even at work, let's say you assert yourself at work and you're not used to asserting yourself. And then you're ashamed that you spoke up, and then you're ashamed that you were rejected, and you keep replaying these things in your head, and you have all these problems because, it's that shame. But the thing is, God is bringing up that shame because he wants to heal your shame. He wants you to have mercy, get in there. So he's going to make that foundation to where you can have shame. It's going to be like that injection needle. Get in there, make you feel that shame, and find the ways that you're investing in things that could make you fall into shame so you can more deeply understand his love and his mercy and shed those patterns of trying to get love and those patterns of that underlying fear of rejection. Because it's almost like, in a way, it's kind of like mercy is a disease. And I'm going to explain this. It's kind of like that. Imagine like an injection needle that has like a virus in it. And you got to get stabbed through those false foundations and get that virus injected into you so that mercy of God can then kind of be spread. Imagine that you're going to spread that virus around, because that's what's trying to happen. That's a really weird analogy, but I think that's an interesting way of talking about it. It's like that mercy can become contagious, but we have to have that deeper knowledge of God's mercy. And the only way you can get you there is by cutting away that stuff. Or cutting through that stuff. So I guess that's really what I wanted to share. And it shows why we have to go through very difficult circumstances so that we can have a deeper knowledge that we are loved. A deeper knowledge that we are loved and a deeper capacity for loving others when we go through those experiences.